So if you want to turn your dynasty team into a serial winner, you need to be finding those undervalued guys. The best way to find those guys in fantasy football are to look for guys that have great underlying numbers without the production that normally goes with it. The guy that I have in mind right now is Curtis Samuel, wide receiver, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. He's a free agent right now. Samuel's points per game finished through 4 years in the NFL are 118, 48, 48, and 27. This isn't exciting. And what you might be thinking is, this is hardly consistent excellence, and I completely agree. This is not consistent excellence. The Curtis Samuel story is one that is fraught with peril in terms of actual fantasy points, but it's filled to the brim when it comes to optimism based on underlying numbers. When you dig in deeper than raw fantasy points and yards and touchdowns, and you look at what he was able to do, that's where this gets exciting. So as a prospect, Samuel came out in 2017. He was drafted with the 8th pick in the second round by the Panthers. He's 5'11", 196 pounds. He runs a 4.31 40-yard dash, which is crazy fast. It doesn't matter. 40-yard dash doesn't matter in this instance. But if given the choice, if I have to pick between a fast player and a slow player, I'll probably pick this fast player if they're, all else being equal. A lot of people don't realize this, but Samuel actually destroyed my production thresholds at age 19, and he did it at Ohio State. I have been told on repeat for the past several years that it is impossible to break out early at Ohio State. Curtis Samuel made miracles happen. He did it. So then he got to the NFL. He missed most of his rookie season due to injury, and he's never really put it all together. I think he played 9 games as a rookie and 130 yards or something like that. He was an invisible rookie. He's a face planner for sure. But he's coming off his best season as a pro. He put up 851 receiving yards, sharing the field with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. What has me believing that Samuel is one of the top bets to have one of those late career breakouts and get you some dynasty value and some cheap dynasty production are the underlying metrics I was mentioning before. Let's talk about a little bit of it. In 2019, he was absolutely betrayed by his situation. He was number 11 in total target distance with 1,542 targeted yards. But in that season, Samuel only had 627 receiving yards. Some might point to that and say, well, he's not really good at catching footballs. And that would be inaccurate. Not unlike his quarterback, Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen was objectively awful in 2019. He had 7 money throws the entire year, number 28 in the NFL. 34 interceptable passes, number 3, and 46 danger plays, number 4. He was terrible. He was throwing bad throws on a routine basis. And then when it comes to efficiency metrics, Kyle Allen was near league worst in pretty much every single efficiency metric available. And he did it while throwing to guys like DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Allen's true passer rating, according to playerprofiler.com, was 70.2, number 33 in the NFL. His true completion percentage, 67.5, number 26 in the NFL. His adjusted yards per attempt was comically low with 5.5, number 31 in the NFL, and his accuracy rating was 6.8, number 30 in the NFL. He was one of the worst starting quarterbacks maybe ever. His metrics were awful. So what does this mean for Curtis Samuel? More of these underlying numbers. He was betrayed by situation. He was fine. When we look at Matt Harmon's reception perception, Matt Harmon grades every route for all the fantasy relevant wide receivers as a pass fail. And when you look at his success by route, Curtis Samuel, in the 11 routes, he was exceptional at 9 of them. He was mediocre at 1 and he was bad at 1 in 2019 while playing with Kyle Allen with the worst quarterback play you could imagine. In 2018, it was more of the same. He was phenomenal across the board. Out of 11 routes, 9 of them were fantastic, 2 of them were mediocre, none of them were bad. He can do everything on a football field. He wins at every level, and there's nothing he can't do. So in 2020, he ended up with 14.1 fantasy points per game. That was good for wide receiver 27. That's a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. He was also the wide receiver 3 on the Carolina Panthers. There is room to grow here. He's 24 years old. He's coming off a wide receiver 3 season. He's a free agent, should be in demand in that second tier of free agent wide receivers. And he's currently going at wide receiver 50, according to DLF ADP. I don't think there's any way he doesn't outproduce that in seasonal leagues, and he is worth a heck of a lot more than wide receiver 50. So look for him to land in a new spot. I don't think there's really any limitation to where he can land. He, as Matt Harmon has illustrated, he can play any position anywhere on the field. So anyone that's looking for a wide receiver, whether it's a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 for their offense, is a landing spot that I'm interested in. A couple of the more prominent ones are like the New York Jets, where they have Denzel Mims, a face planner, so probably not very good. We have Oakland Raiders, which drafted Henry Ruggs, which is a face planner. They drafted Brian Edwards, another face planner, and they have Nelson Aguilar playing a prominent role. That just seems suboptimal. So the Raiders would be a good spot. Washington football team, they are screaming for depth. Like, they have Terry McLaurin, who's very, very good, and then they have a bunch of guys that probably can't even play Div 1 in college. Like, their depth chart is hilariously bad. But I think my favorite landing spot for him might be in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. If you can get him into that Randall Cobb role, maybe a little bit expanded from what Randall Cobb could do, it could be pretty good for fantasy. If that's where he winds up, it's going to be time to unleash him.